considering some of the emails I've been getting lately, a lot of people are apparently wondering how I got the way that I am. And as I was a youth, I kind of felt I had a pretty normal life. And I guess in some ways I did, but when I tell people stories about my childhood and such, they don't seem to really see it that way. They seem to think I grew up in some strange, bizarre world in some strange, bizarre way. And so I'm going to share a couple of those early formative experiences so that people can understand where it is I came from and how I got how I am today. Okay. The first story that I want to tell here is something that happened when I was in high school, as a early high school, and it was one of those sort of really geeky things that happened to people. And the story happened when my friend T is changing the names to protect the innocent, all very edgy. Anyway, T's mother went out someplace for the weekend, and his place was free, and we decided to do is something that young boys, teenage boys, tend to do, is we played Dungeons and Dragons all weekend long. So we gathered over there on Friday, and we played until like 3 in the morning. I mean, it was getting crazy, stacks of super big gulps all over the places, the ruins of pizza, that sort of thing. And we'd finally had enough, and we all lay down to go to sleep. And two of the people that were there were the K brothers, Ed and Jay. And Ed, what he did is he got inside of his sleeping bag, and this was in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the summertime, so you have some context here of what I'm talking about. It was one of those mummy bags where only your face shows, and he got in with his D&D books because he didn't want his brother to steal them. He got in with his D&D books, and he zipped the whole thing up until only his face was showing. And we all got a good laugh about that. But then we, lay on our own bags, and we went to sleep. Not so much worried about what happened to our D&D books. And reconstructing now from what I learned later on, this is what happened. His brother Jay got up, and everybody else was asleep. And he went outside, and he got on his bicycle, and he hopped on his bike. He rode home. And where he got his brother's ant farm, and he got his brother's ant farm, and he rode back. And what Jay did was, he went inside of his, the Todd's place, and he took the ant farm and he shook it up. The ant farm shook it up. And they tore off the top of the ant farm, and where his brother was laying in the mummy sleeping bag with just the face thing open, he took the ants and he opened the sleeping bag up, and he bumped the ants into the sleeping bag. Then that string that controls how big the hole is, he took it and he pulled it all the way up, and he just held on. So there's a little hole, and he's holding on so that his brother inside couldn't unzip the bag. And this is when, of course, the rest of us got up. And we got up, and we see his brother. We see Jay hunched over the sleeping bag, where he's holding it closed, and Ed's on his trying to get out, crazy trying to get out. And it took like 3 of us to get Jay off of his brother. And he's just hanging on for dear life, and eventually I got off because I bit on his hand, and that is what made Jay release me. We were able to pull him free, and his brother, unzips the thing, flings off a sleeping bag. Ants and sand and D&D books go everywhere, and he runs in the shower. He runs in the shower, and he showers himself off, and then we clean up the mess that they'd made, and when Ed came, he was covered in ant bites. I mean, all over. It was just horrible. And then we all went back to sleep and played D&D the next day. I've got a couple of more K Brothers stories for you in the future, in case this one really intrigued people. But that's kind of a brief little look into the life of Chris Bradley and how he got to be the way that he is. Thank you very much, and as usual, I'd like to see you at my website, read my stories, participate in my blog, do cool things like that, and I won't come after you with a D&D book.